Hello YouTube, just want to offer a review of the S-Shock, cheap little $12 multifunction watch, sport watch that you see oftentimes on Amazon, or you might see it on AliExpress. And it's a cheap watch, and just you may be wondering, is it worth having? Is it, how does it compare to something like a G-Shock? Well, first of all, it doesn't compare to a G-Shock, I'm sure. But if you're needing something that's functional and sort of a beater watch that you can use for doing yard work or housework, carpentry or construction of some kind, this might be a good watch for you. I bought it because I didn't really want the power of a G-Shock. I use this sort of as a backup watch for just those rare occasions when I need something, like when I go cycling, or when I need to spread some mulch in the backyard. I just need something I know that I really don't care what happens to it. So I paid $13 for this on Amazon, and just found that it actually is a pretty good watch. So I want to just kind of tell you a little bit more about it. First of all, one of the first things I did is I took a little needle or something just to scrape out the white lettering, because nothing worse than someone come up to you, hey, is that a G-Shock? No, it's an S-Shock. So I like to black it out a little bit. I think it makes it look a little better. So that was really easy to do, and got all the paint out of that, and it did it down here as well where it says shock resistance. Let's talk a little bit about function. I love a combination of analog and digital, and this certainly does that. You have the Saturday, the 3rd, the date and the day at the top, and you have your at the bottom you have your digital readout for time. You also have an alarm function. You also have a stopwatch function, and then of course you can set the time. Very basic watch, just like your old Casio from the 80s. So I will tell you that later I thought, well, man, I should have gotten the G-Shock. So I went and bought a G-Shock, ordered it online, about $75, and I'll put a picture up for you so that you can see it. Really enjoyed it, but just realized that I was rarely using it. So, and I didn't find it to be that much more durable than this, at least for what I'm using it for. I'm not out. I'm not a military guy. I'm not out there using it every day. Again, just need something for the occasional yard work kind of thing. This worked just fine. In fact, this has a similar weight and feel to it that my G-Shock had. In fact, I would say the plastic band feels a little bit. It's a little bit thinner and a little harder on this, but not by much. It wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't a whole lot less than the G-Shock. So I ended up selling the G-Shock, and I'm back to this, $12.99. Had it for about 9 months now. And I'll tell you, there's only one problem I've had with this, and that is it's only happened to me twice. So, I must hit it or something, and the battery must disconnect for a brief second, and the digital readout resets. Now, because that only happens for a split second, the analog, only loses a split second and keeps going. So I don't really lose the time. I just look down and notice that the digital readout was completely different. So, a little bit about accuracy. This thing, I noticed that my first attempt was to exactly line up the digital with the analog. The problem with doing that is when you're actually setting the digital time and you hit the button to reset it to 0, it sometimes goes from 0 right to 1. So it's like it doesn't go 0 and then 1. It's frustrating because you can't exactly line it up a little bit. And I finally get it perfectly lined up. And then I would notice a few days later the analog would be a little bit faster than the digital. So no, they're not going to stay perfectly aligned, not for $12.99. So it's been 3 or 4 months since I set this, and I checked it today, and the digital is, the digital readout is about 9 seconds fast, and the analog is about 12 seconds fast. So that's pretty good for 3 or 4 months. It's a nice thickness to it. I actually preferred the shape of this really to my G-Shock. My G-Shock was much longer from top to bottom, and thinner, but I kind of like the round look of this. It just is a nice watch. It's big. It's 45 millimeters, and has quite a sizable wrist presence. But on my 7¼ inch wrist, it's not too bad. And these watches are meant to be oversized, and they're not meant to be perfectly sized to your wrist. These are meant to be big, and this works. I just went on a long bike ride this morning and was able to glance down, and I was able to time it with a stopwatch, able to glance down pretty quick and tell the time and tell how long I've ridden, things like that. And it's very light on the wrist, just like the G-Shock was. You don't really notice it. It doesn't wiggle around, it doesn't move, and it stays comfortable on the wrist. So I've really come to really enjoy this watch. So let's do a little bit of close-up, and then we'll do a wrist shot for you. So this is about as close as I can focus, but I want you to get a little closer look at the dial. You notice that I don't have many scratches at all, really, on the cheap plastic crystal there. And the crown pulls out nicely, just for setting the watch. The buttons are recessed well enough that I don't accidentally hit them. And then you can see a little bit about the thickness. I haven't had any of these screws come loose. This is really done quite well for 13 bucks. Again, if you're going to use this, if you need a watch for really hard work, daily wear, get a G-Shock. But if you just need a backup watch once in a while, I use it to save my good watches from getting scratched up. I wear it maybe once a month for different activities, maybe twice a month, and man, that's perfect. You just grab it and go. Don't have to worry about the time being too off. It's a good deal. Very happy with it. So now let's try a wrist shot. Okay, we have it on the wrist now. Let you look at how that fits. I think it fits my 7¼ inch wrist pretty nicely. And as you see, it's got a little height to it, but nothing outrageous, nothing any more than a G-Shock. And if you see it from this angle, it wears quite nicely. Very black, very functional. Again, it wears very comfortably, so I don't even really notice it when I'm wearing it, and keeps the time. That's all I need for it. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you have any questions, certainly put them down in the comments section. I'm glad to respond. Have a good one.